Welcome to Doomscroll. I am Lisa Curry.
Hey, and I'm Matt Sheffield. And today, Lisa is in a hotel.
Yeah, I'm
We're
in
recording.
Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. I officiated a wedding here yesterday, April Fool's Day, and it was so fun. The bride came down the aisle dressed as a piece of pizza.
Oh,
You guys anyone listening, you'll be able to see on my Instagram. So check that out at Olympian Lisa Curry. It was so funny. It really took a lot for me to pull myself together because I was laughing so much. And it was great. Everybody was so fun. Um,
oh, and you did it as
yeah,
in your capacity as a licensed minister.
yeah. So if somebody's looking for an officiant, that's something you can pay me to do. I wrote the whole officiant speech and wrote a bunch of jokes in there for them, and yeah, they loved it. So I feel good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it sounds like a fun time. And I
Yeah,
guess I have to wonder though, is if it's a wedding on April Fool's Day, does that mean you can take your vows back?
I mean, maybe.
Well, anyway, well, yeah, as usual, since we did our last show, there's always a lot of shit that happened, and
Always.
it's another episode of the real court trials of Donald Trump, and
Hmm.
continuing. And I have to say, my favorite one is the Stormy Daniels trial because it's just so absurd, and it really does hit on his hypocrisy and especially with his base.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, but the judge, as per usual, since the case actually is starting, and this is a criminal case, it's going to start on April 15th. At least, unless he can delay it somehow in desperation. But he keeps going after the judge and various people in there. And he went after the daughter of the judge, Juan Merchant or Merchan, and basically he took some Twitter post from the conspiracy nut job Laura Loomer and basically claimed that the daughter of the judge had posted a mean picture
Hmm.
on the internet. And so, therefore, the judge needs to be removed from the case.
This
But
is
it was lying. It wasn't
it.
true. She didn't do
It's
it.
Well, first of all, I think sadly both sides, almost no one is fact checking shit they're reposting if it feels like an exciting story or salacious or whatever. Um, but it's also the same week that he posted a photo, like a photoshopped photo of Joe
Yeah.
Biden bound and gagged. So it's like,
Yeah. Oh, good point.
what
Yeah.
are
If
you even talking about, guy? I
you're
mean,
against things like that now.
I just think, look, you, regardless of who's, first of all, for a former president to act like that is wild, wild. Although it's not wild when it comes to Trump, but regardless of who's in office, I do think it's a no to post threatening things about the sitting president. You simply do not. But the fucked up thing is the FBI isn't gonna search Trump's house like they did to Kathy Griffin when he was in office. They're not gonna. I mean, I assume they searched her house. I think that that's what they did. So I might be misspeaking here,
Well, at the very least,
but
they certainly
eh,
interviewed her and talked to her. Yeah.
yeah, at the very least, and he literally was leading a movement to hang Mike Pence, and
Yeah.
still they're like, I mean, what can you do? The guy's got
Yeah.
stuff to say. Our hands are tied. I am every
People
day
want to
I'm
hear
more
from
and
this
more,
guy. Yeah.
yeah, every day I'm more radicalized over how the rich and powerful suffer no consequences for much bigger infractions than poor
Yeah.
people. Like someone stealing a Snickers bar from a gas station is gonna get in much more trouble than a former
Yeah.
president openly threatening the sitting president.
Well, yeah,
It's
and a guy, let's say on the courthouse steps, somebody on a trial, says to his friend, that judge is a real asshole.
Mhm.
like they could face trouble just for that offhanded comment on the steps
Yes.
of the court. And much less posting on social media that this person, needs to be fired and is corrupt and whatever, blah blah blah. Like
Mhm.
this is it's just yet another example of the idea that every accusation is a confession for these guys. Everything is,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
like when they talk about a two-tiered system of justice, that's like one of their favorite talking points. They can't
Mhm.
talk for 5 minutes without using that phrase, and they're right. There is one, but they're the ones that benefit from it. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
Donald Trump has been, because of his money and now because of his political, connections, has gotten away with shit that people would have been in jail for. And any normal person, like Trump University, just by itself, he should have gotten like 10, 15 years in jail for that. But yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
I mean, but which reminds me I need to start my own university, so thank you for that.
Curry College. There you go. It's
Yeah, I dropped out of
alliteration.
college, so actually I could use my own university. I'll be using my own courses.
Oh, nice. And speaking of Trump crimes in progress, we have his Truth Social company, which is now a public corporation that merged with this special purpose acquisition company. And now it's on the NASDAQ stock exchange as DJT. Well, the stock for it has been nosediving after they were forced to disclose to the public that they lost $58 million last year and had $4 million in revenue. And who would have thought that a company that has almost no revenue and has been losing money and users for years, who would have thought that that's not a good business? I don't know. It's incredible.
I'm stunned. I It's also funny because, they wanted to move over there where they can say anything, which is one thing that's funny. So I hate that Elon Musk has taken over Twitter because I used to have a lot of fun on Twitter and now I'm just not on there anymore. I'll retweet something every once in a while or fire off some crazy idea I come up with when I'm stoned out of my face. But
Mhm.
since he's taken over, there's those community notes now where like if somebody
Yeah.
posts something that's bullshit, it'll immediately be amended underneath there and say, actually, this isn't true. And I love that because I don't remember that before. But also, it's funny that Trump started a new website so that they could say whatever inflammatory stuff. But the people that went over there were all scum. And so it's just an
Yeah.
echo chamber. They're not having I can't imagine they're having any fun over there because they don't have any progressives to make fun of. Like that was their whole thing
Or to
was
argue with, yeah.
yeah, or just going on like progressive a big thing they love to do, the right loves to do is go on to progressive women's accounts and whatever you post, fuck you, bitch, I'm gonna kill you. Like the number of friends
You're
of mine, including
ugly.
myself,
Yeah.
yeah, the number of friends of mine, including myself, that have gotten a barrage of death threats from these people just for being a woman that's alive and that his internet access is
Yeah.
anyway. So now who are they going after?
Yeah. Well, no, and that's the thing. Like they've lost users as well, and I mean, it's just so stupid. But I have to say, like, having when I used to work in conservative media, like there was a thing in there, and it was, and this was my job at one point, was to run the email lists for the Washington Times newspaper. And they had things in
Oh.
there like where they would sell their email, like rent it out to advertiser. And the
Mhm.
advertisers that they had were so fucking grifty, just totally scammy. Like there was one that I remember, they were like, Ronald Reagan's secret cure for cancer. And and if you buy our subscription to our health newsletter, quote unquote, we'll tell you what it was. And there was another
Not
guy
to be
that was,
confused with Reagan's secret cure for AIDS, which was just to simply ignore it.
yeah, basically. Well, no, but anyway, but like they just prey on their subscribers and their advertisers and or their
Mhm.
customers, and like that's what this Truth Social thing is. Like this, is the one weird trick. You remember those ads you used to see in the like mid 2000s? You remember those? The one weird trick to do X.
Oh
Do you
yeah,
remember
I
those at
mean that.
all?
Yeah, yeah,
They were
absolutely.
like universal, but it was a while ago, and those were actually run by Newsmax primarily at the
Oh,
time. Yes.
I did not realize.
And like that's the kind of shit that right wing advertisements are filled with. And like basically, this Truth Social is just the like an upscaled, crypto enhanced version of this scam. And it's, I mean, it is incredible how he's pulled this off. And it absolutely, this shit needs to be illegal. Like, but it shows the limits of our justice system that he pulled this off, and so many of these morons have fallen for it. And I don't know,
And of course they have. And of course they have.
yeah, it's
Uh,
like, I mean, yeah. Anyway, but
they love
we're
to be
we're getting about.
scammed.
I don't
They're doing like
think they do
they're
actually.
doing like the financial equivalent of stepping on a rake over and over again. They
Yeah, yeah,
just
and I think you're actually right that they do actually like being scammed, because in a certain sense they're like, well, see, I didn't detect it, so okay, caveat emptor, buyer beware. That's everything in the world. And it's like, you can just have a nice existence with people who are nice to you. Uh,
yeah.
that is possible. You can have friends and family who actually like you and are kind to you. But yeah, they really don't see that. The MAGA people that I know, that really is how they really think, including their own family. It is so fucked up. Like it is a
It's
completely
I have to
psychosis.
say my mom's side of the family are they're MAGA. And well, some of them are MAGA, and the rest of them are just conservatives and just bigoted, sexist maniacs, racist, homophobic, Islamophobic, the
Yeah.
whole you name it, and that's them. Uh, and they one of my aunts who is still a Trump supporter now. When my grandma was at the end of her life, I talked to my grandma all the time on the phone. And when my grandma was at the end of her life, my aunt was over at her house and I called my grandma and I'm talking to her. And my aunt grabbed the phone from my grandma and goes, "So why are you a Democrat?" And I'm like, "What? Why are you taking the phone away from my grandma who doesn't have too much time left to live to try to start an argument with me? I don't
Yeah.
care. I'm like, I'm not going to change you. I'm just hoping you'll be dead sooner than later so we don't have to worry about your vote anymore and I don't get harassed by you anymore." It's like, why is this happen? It's not like, I think that there's this kind of idea that progressives go home for Christmas and start fights. I'm like, no, no, no. I don't say a
It's the
fucking
exact
word about
opposite.
politics. And yeah, and they're like, you really want to live in California? It's like, what? Yes, I'm having a lot of fun. My life is objectively better than yours in every category. I don't.
Yeah. No, it's true. Yeah, like the perception is all wrong, but they're the ones who can't shut up about it.
Republican Congressman Tim Walberg says he wants Gaza to be treated, quote, like Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Get it over quick. Here's the thing, and I mean this with my whole heart. People that Congress people that say shit like that should not have the privilege of living peaceful lives. This man should not be able to go to a restaurant, the gas station, a hotel, home. I don't want him to be able to go home without people harassing him and yelling. Like, this is the least we can do. You are calling for ramping up a genocide. You are calling for families, for people to be wiped off the face of the planet in the most violent way
Yeah.
possible. For
Yeah.
fucking what? I like this idea that it's like gross to harass politicians at restaurant or whatever. I'm like, no, 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 no. Do it. They deserve it because they
Yeah.
the voting system is fucked up. We write our congress people, we call them, we protest, and
Well, and
they
they're all
just ignore
gerrymandered.
us.
The right wing uses this phrase culture war, and they actually mean it. they actually mean that they think that there's a war between them and everyone else. And if you
But
don't
they're the
understand
ones that are doing it. I mean, you know, the
that, and they're
left
the
is
ones
like,
who are doing it.
we would love for gay people to be able to get married and live in peace. And the right is like, no.
Yes.
And then they're
No.
the ones that drum up this crazy, like, you can't drink this beer because gay people drink it or what. It's fucking so, it's just,
Yeah.
it goes back to my theory is that everyone needs a hobby.
Well, and every right winger needs psychotherapy. Like that's the other
Hmm.
thing. Like all these people, like, and this is why this is why they also do hate therapy so much, right wing,
Hmm.
people, because it's like religion is sort of like a proto science and a proto psychology. That's actually what it is. And
Hmm.
if you're used to the inferior product and that's the only thing you know, and somebody comes along and says, hey, this other thing is way better than everything that you've ever known, and it actually works, like most people will hear that and they'll be like, holy shit, are you serious? This I want this. But some people will be like, no, I'm used to this works for me, and I don't want it. And and like that's basically that really is the problem of our society, is that we've got this tiny, like let's say 30%, 20-30% of people who hate everything about the world that we live in, and
Hmm.
and just don't want other people to have a right to exist, whether they're trans or gay or whatever, or and they have to be politically disempowered. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is not funny.
Sorry. Yeah. In there, I was like, got super serious. We're both like, what the fuck?
Yeah. But then again, we are talking about a guy calling for genocide, so it's kind of hard to joke about that. Truth be told.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not joking when I say I think he should be taken out at the knees, but I'm not calling
Well,
for it. I just think it's something that should happen.
well, yeah. I mean, look, and it does highlight, though, that saying of the lesser of two evils. Like, there's so many people out there that somehow, and some of that, I doubt sometimes how sincere some of these people online are, because I don't know them. But they're like, oh,
Mhm.
I'm never going to vote for Joe Biden because of Gaza, and it's like, this is the alternative to Joe Biden on Gaza. Yeah, and Trump
Mhm.
himself, has basically said, Israel should have banned cameras in Gaza and just go in and wipe people out. That's what they should do. And so, like, you don't have to like Biden for his Gaza policies, but
Mhm.
it will be so much worse,
Which
if Trump wins.
I
Like,
resent.
that's
Yeah,
the reality.
I
Yeah, and it sucks.
realistically, yeah, I hate it. I hate that these are our options. And I can't
But
wait
yeah,
till all the old politicians die, and hopefully
yeah.
younger people like Gen Z is really very politically motivated. I mean, they can't read, they can't write in cursive, um, but they're engaged. And
Yeah.
like we need them, especially like, there's the what's his name, Maxwell, who survived the Parkland shooting, and he's in politics now, and a lot of his classmates are David Hogg is in politics or in
Mhm.
I think he's an activist. And I'm like, all these kids that you allowed to be shot at in school are now adults and are now
Yeah.
running for office and getting seats. And I love it. I think it's going to be a big shift in another direction. I just
Yeah.
hope
Yeah.
it's before things are too late, because I think if Trump gets elected again, which there's a pretty good chance that he could win, and I think if he gets elected again, that's the end of the United States as we've known it. And that sounds so dramatic, but it's going to be a
Mm.
fully Christian nation if he takes over, a violent, violent Christian nation.
Yeah. Well, and of course, speaking of somebody who wants that
Mhm.
is John Eastman, Donald Trump's lawyer, the guy that came up with the whole fake elector scheme, a judge out here in California said that he needs to have his bar license revoked for engaging in basically, putting forward arguments he knew to be false, refusing to verify allegations. And that's pretty obvious that that's what happened. And
Yeah,
while
and
he
he
was
claimed.
on trial, oh yeah, no, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say he claimed that his allies claimed, or his allies claimed that he and his allies claimed that Satan was making people hold him to account for his crimes, and
Yeah.
the number of people in right-wing politics that are receiving messages from the Lord or whomever on the other side, I don't know what frequency they're tapped into. I don't know anyone on the left who's been receiving messages from the Lord. So I don't know if we need to like plug into a phone pole somewhere. I don't know. I
What's the
don't know how that
frequency,
works.
Kenneth?
How are you? Yeah, how are you transmitting these messages? Like, how many fillings do you have in your in your mouth?
Hey, I can believe if they might have an idea on what Satan wants. That one
Yeah.
seems a little more possible.
Well, what's so funny to me too, is that all these people are getting messages. Meanwhile, the left are the ones that are partaking in ayahuasca ceremonies all the time. I'm like, if anyone's actually seeing God, wouldn't it be somebody on the left? Wouldn't it be me doing mushrooms a couple times a month? Why am I
Mm.
not seeing God?
Yeah, you know what? You know what though? I bet money that eventually somebody's going to start introducing shrooms into the evangelical charismatic community. Oh my God, that's going to
I
happen.
hope they do because I
That's
think they'll
going
chill
to
the fuck
happen.
out. I think that they will calm down. Honest to
Well,
God.
and yeah, we just need a few of them to have some overdoses. That would be nice too. I'd be all right with
I don't think you can
that.
overdose on mushrooms.
Oh,
Well,
you can't. Okay, see, I don't
I've
know.
dosed myself out of the universe for sure before. But I just came away happier and more connected to nature. So
Oh, okay. Well, you're gonna have to show me how to do this stuff. I've actually never done it. Mushrooms.
life changing.
Um,
Everyone listening, you've got to do mushrooms. Trust me. It'll curb if you have anger issues, it'll fucking curb that. You'll appreciate nature more. You're less
I just
mad.
feel like I will
You're
fall
less
asleep.
angry. And no, no, no.
Um,
Mushrooms will keep you awake.
no. Oh, okay. All right. Well, you'll have to show me how it works one of these days. So let's see here. I guess this is turning into a legal podcast, not a comedy news podcast. Sorry, guys. um, but you didn't know you were signing up for that when you subscribed. So, but hey, and neither one of us are lawyers, so our
Yeah,
analysis is
but
top
that will not
notch.
stop me from giving you legal advice.
Hey, you're already giving pharmaceutical advice, Lisa.
Yes, exactly.
Well, so in other legal news, Rudy Giuliani is in bankruptcy proceedings, and he is claiming that he needs to keep his $3.5 million condo and not have it taken away from him because he needs to do his podcast, and he needs that $3.5 million space to do a
Listen,
podcast. And I'll have to say,
I'm
I'm
probably in a
liking
three
this.
and a half million dollar building right now. So I mean, I am in a hotel. I am in an all inclusive hotel resort. So I could make that argument. I could help him with that. I actually, that
You
reminds
need
me,
to
I
squat
need to
in
get,
your room. That's what you can do.
yeah, I need to get myself actually a $3.5 million condo, and maybe that would just be a tax write off for me.
Okay. Yeah, and you needed to do a podcast. Like, hey, this is
Hmm.
one Trumper legal argument that I think I can get behind.
Yeah, exactly. Sounds correct
uh,
to me. I mean, go Rudy. I assume also he has other properties as well. I can't imagine he just has one. Not that Trump was paying him for his legal services, but
Yeah, well, I think he does have an apartment in New York, which he's already being forced to sell that, but nobody wants to buy it. That's the other thing. I mean, yeah, I can only imagine, like, yeah, buying a house that Rudy Giuliani lived in. Like, I feel like it would be filled with all these trap doors and who knows, and
I
like
feel like it
smell
would
like
be,
some horrible, weird cologne that he,
yeah.
found in 1930s Nazi Germany or something.
Yeah, I feel like it would be like when somebody cooks meth in their house, you have to tear it down because it soaks into the walls. And I
Mhm.
feel like
Yeah.
his the humidity coming off of his body, I imagine he's just damp all the time and smells like a combination of a really musky cologne and baby powder. And I
And
bet that
urine.
that smell is just, yeah, just soaked into the walls.
Yeah, I can see somebody not wanting, no one wanting to buy that place. So, but it would be interesting who does end up buying. Like, it might be a great place to shoot a New York mob flick. That's about the only person I would imagine wanting to buy that, knowing it was from him.
Yeah, and
um,
they'd shake him down and make him sell it for much, much less, which actually I like that idea. Just
yeah, although
him
this one
losing
isn't.
money excites me.
Yeah. So that we'll see what happens if on this condo that he's got. It's in Florida, but
To lighten things up a bit here as we're closing up, actress Patricia Richardson, who played Jill on Home Improvement, the mother, says Tim Allen has been lying that they are going about having a reboot of the show with the original cast.
yeah.
Neither she nor Jonathan Taylor Thomas have even discussed it with Allen, and Wilson is dead, and Zach is in a bunch of legal trouble. And also, Tim Allen just has sucked so hard for so long. I don't understand why he doesn't just
Yeah.
wrap it up. He has claimed, and I think I've probably said this on here before, but he's always whining about how he's being iced out of Hollywood because he's a Republican and we're so judgmental and we don't want to work with the Republican. Meanwhile, he's been the title character of two network sitcoms. I don't think people
Yeah.
understand how much network sitcoms pay, especially for the star. He's also starred in multiple movies. Go fucking
Yeah.
away. Like, he's for sure got hundreds of millions of dollars and will be getting
Yeah.
residuals for the
Yeah.
rest of his life. And
Yep.
I don't understand why he would start this lie.
Well,
Home
also,
Improvement was a
yeah,
fun show. We don't need it again. We did it.
yeah, and that's the other thing about him is that like he's basically played the same character his entire life, which
Hmm.
is himself.
Yeah.
Like, do we need to see Tim Allen play himself for a third sitcom series? No, no, we do not. Um,
Yeah, we certainly do not. Not at all. And it's not like this
and
is
I
one of
love
our
that he's
best and
just
brightest.
no, and I love that he's just going around and lying about it, like and telling people that because I mean, I guess there must be some people out there that want it to come back, but I just like when you watch because every once in a while, I don't know, like I might see it on Netflix, like in the little preview, when you're flipping
Hmm.
around or whatever, and you watch it, and she absolutely, Patricia Richardson, like she was over that character while the show was running. Uh, so the idea that she's going to want to do it again is just asinine. But like I don't know, like he must be doing that. I feel like he's doing it just to keep himself in the news because
Yeah.
otherwise, no one would be
And
talking about
in no time
him.
he'll be on like Adam Carolla's podcast or something whining about how hard it is to be a Republican in the world. It's like,
Cancel
I
culture.
mean, okay, dude, if you're helping to fight against women's reproductive rights and you're helping to keep this many guns in circulation, I actually do want you to be really miserable. I want life to feel unbearable for you.
Yeah,
So I like
it's so miserable making $1 million a year versus $50 million a year. It's
this is the thing
miserable.
too, just so again, so people can understand how much money a network sitcom pays. None of the rest of the cast is, you don't hear about them working as actors anymore, and you don't hear about them like, oh,
No.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas is a famous dentist now. Like, they're just done working for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, they're
And the
typecast
show wrapped in the
forever.
fucking 90s. So it's already been they've already been coasting on it for 30 years and will continue till the end of time. So yeah, I don't understand the rumor. I'm gonna start a rumor that Blossom is coming back. That's that's what I'm gonna do.
And your Blossom. There you
Yeah,
go.
this time I'm Blossom.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And I will be
you
the
froze
next
up for a
Indiana
second there.
Jones. Oh, yes,
There
I'm
you go.
Blossom, and I will also be the next Indiana Jones. So get ready for that, everyone.
Yeah. Well, and I guess speaking of other Hollywood news, well, sort of, I guess. I'm speaking charitably here. We have Lara Trump, who the Republican, co-chair, National Committee co-chair, has also released she's following up with another country music song. All right. And everybody loathes it just as much as they did last time. So she came out with a rendition of "Anything Is Possible" by Debbie Gibson after doing Tom Petty's "Won't Back Down." So I'm gonna play
Just on
the
record, if Tom
excerpt.
Petty were still alive, he would call for a cease and desist. I'm sure his estate
Oh yeah,
probably has.
for sure. All right, so I'm gonna play Lara's song here. Let me rewind it here so we can.
So don't think, just jump. You can't give up. Know that anything is possible. Have faith, believe, just trust, you'll see.
She's had so much plastic surgery. I really am noticing that in this screenshot.
I've
had my ups and
okay,
downs.
I can't take it
The
anymore.
song is it's so much worse than I thought it was gonna be. I don't understand the effect they're putting on her voice where it sounds like she's underwater for moments. That's fucking
Oh, it's
weird
auto
to me.
tune. That's auto
Yeah,
tune.
it's really bad.
She is, yeah, and she's yet another example that pretty much everybody in Republican politics is a failed entertainer.
Mhm.
Yeah, and actually, I, I have a theory that basically most of the people who are the villains on reality shows are actually right wingers. But I don't really watch reality TV anymore. But like I was only coming up with that because there was some right wing sports podcast, and I look at it once in a while by some woman named Charlie Arno or something.
Mhm.
She was like doing interviews with this woman that was on Love Is Blind or something, and
Of course.
she was like, people hated me because I was a Republican, and then they made me into the villain. And I was like, huh, maybe you were just the villain because you're an asshole, and that's also why you're a Republican. But I don't
Yeah.
know. That's my theory, but I don't watch any of these shows, so people can tell me if I'm wrong. I'm sure you
It feels a
will.
lot like when they're like, "They hate me because I'm Republican," it's like it feels a lot like when they claim like, "Oh, Muslims hate us because of our freedoms." It's like, no, they hate us because we're terrorists and we're invading their country and leveling entire cities and
And
wiping
killing
out
them.
entire bloodlines, in the name of democracy or whatever fucking absolute horseshit. It's like, no, you're probably being objectively terrible. You're probably doing something like what my aunt did, taking away the phone from my dying grandmother. It's like,
Yeah.
that's why I fucking hate you. It's not because of a title you've bestowed on yourself.
Yeah. Well, that's such a hilarious line. Hate us for our freedoms. What the fuck does that even
Mhm.
mean?
That doesn't make any sense. Nobody's paying that much attention to us until we invade their country, and then they're like, "Hold on
Well,
a second."
and if anybody hates people for their freedoms, it's Republicans, hating women to have
100%,
the
yeah.
right to, control their body or,
gay
trans
people
to exist.
living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or somebody not believing in religion. Like those sound like freedoms that they don't really like.
Yeah.
But anyway, I have to say, maybe Lara Trump is gonna find a way to combine her grift on this song with Truth Social. Like I don't think anybody else is gonna pick this up.
Yeah. God bless. I mean, and when it doesn't get radio play, they're going to claim that they're being blocked by the deep state or there's some kind of left-wing conspiracy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's that all of this is part of an album. That's what this is leading up to.
I love it.
It's coming. All right. Well, that is our last story for the day. And
thank you everyone for listening. Oh, this weekend I am in Phoenix, Friday and Saturday. Friday I am at Mic Drop Mania, which is actually Chandler, Arizona. It's a suburb of Phoenix and it's just barely outside of the city. I have 2 shows there, 7:00 and 9:30. Those are going to be friggin' great. And then Saturday night I have another show on the opposite end of Phoenix, also in the suburbs, and there's not a venue name. It's like kind of a semi-secret show situation, and it's at 1902 West Palm Lane in Phoenix, 85009. So come to that. Come to the club show. Come to both. I'll do different sets. Come to everything and say hi.
There you go. All right, and then everybody make sure to follow at Doomscroll Show on all the places, and we'll see you next.
Yeah, see you next week.